Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I am going to be showing you guys how to sew your very first stitch as a pro. So if you've been wondering how to start, or you've been having issues sitting on a machine and sewing on a fabric, this video is for you. So in other videos, I have showed you how to set up your sewing machine, and I have given you the necessary tools to purchase as a beginner. Of course, I told you you don't have to break the bank. Just start with what you have and what you can afford. This particular tutorial is going to be a practical one where I am going to show you how to sit on this machine comfortably and sew on a fabric. So before we get started, let's go over on the part of the sewing machine that will be working mostly in this tutorial. And also, in case you do not know how to set up your sewing machine, I have this tutorial on how to set up a sewing machine right here in the channel. So do check that out so that it will be easy for you to follow up on this tutorial. So the very first important part of the sewing machine that you should know is the hand wheel. All right, so this part here is what we call the hand wheel. The hand wheel actually is what starts the machine. So it's just like a car that you're driving. The hand wheel is that part that starts anything that you want to do on the sewing machine. And then of course we have here the presser foot. All right, so this presser foot right here is what presses your fabric to your sewing machine. If you do not press your fabric down, the machine is not going to sew. All right, the thread is not going to pick on your fabric. So the presser foot is also one of the important parts of the machine that we'll be using today. And then we have our sewing needle. All right, check out the tutorial and you're going to see how to fix your sewing needle properly. So everything you need to know about setting up your machine is on the channel, on the tutorial how to set up your machine. All right, so if you know how to set up your machine, this is going to be a simple process. So now sit down on your sewing machine. Now we're going to take a deep breath. You know that there's this thing that happens whenever you're sitting on a sewing machine for the first time. You're scared that you don't want to destroy a fabric or something. But this time around, you're going to sit comfortably on this sewing machine. All right? Just like you're learning how to drive a car. Sit here, take a deep breath, and then let's start stirring the sewing machine. Now that you've comfortably stirred your vehicle, which is turning your balance wheel the right way. Remember, turning the balance wheel, you have to turn it clockwise, all right? Not anti-clockwise. It has to go like this, all right? Just like what we did initially. If it comes back like this, it is wrong. So you have to keep it going like this, all right? Do this until you are very comfortable steering your sewing machine. Now the next thing is threading your machine. I already showed you how to thread this machine in the tutorial, how to set up your sewing machine, but we're still going to do this again as a recap so that you understand better what we are doing. So this is basically how you're going to do it. This is called a spool pin. So I'm going to place my thread on a spool pin like this, and then I am going to come down, pick the thread from behind, all right, and then cross it over here. Now when I cross it over here, I'm going to come to this place right here and place the machine, the thread underneath. I hope you understand what I am doing. So when I am done, I am going to be fixing the thread. Okay, I'm going to be fixing this point of the thread in this hole. All right, so this is called the take up level. It takes up the thread up and down. All right, so I'm going to fix this right here in the hole here, and then I am going to take it out. Now after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to fix my thread inside the needle hole. If you notice, I just had to cut the thread again so that the mouth of the thread will be equal for me to push it into the needle hole. So this is a tip that you can actually use to do that. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is to pick my thread right here. I'm going to rotate my hand wheel and then pick the thread down below. All right, remember we have the bobbin case compartment below, and then I am just going to pick up my thread from that part. In order to be able to sew properly, you have to pick your thread from inside, all right, so that these two can sew together. Now, when you're done setting up this, we are done threading our machine and our machine is ready to sew. All right, so as a beginner, I am going to make sure that this goes slowly for you. So the very first step we're going to take is to paddle without our thread. Yes, I've threaded the machine, but then you're going to have to paddle without the thread. That way, paddling will make it easy. So we're going to be using a paper, right? I'm going to be using a paper. So right here, I just pulled out my thread again, and I'm going to be using a paper to do the very first paddling. So this is my paper right here. So get yourself a paper and then place it under the sewing machine. Now this is the first thing we're going to do. So we're going to be following the lines on this paper. All right, so this paper actually has lines. So we're going to pretend as if we're following the lines on the paper. That way you're going to learn how to sew a straight line. All right, so now we're going to place our paper beneath like this. So now when we're done, I am going to be pressing this down. All right, so this part of the machine, I'm pressing it down, and it's going to bring down the presser foot. Now when you're done, remember we're sewing on a straight line, so we're going to just keep sewing like so. Now when you're sewing on this, okay, you're going to just press it lightly, okay. Place your hand in front of your paper or your fabric, whatever you're going to be using at this time. Press your hand in front. Start the sewing machine by wheeling the hand, all right, and then let your leg be on your footer, all right. Then you follow the balance wheel the way it goes, and just keep dragging the paper slowly to arrange it the way you want it to go. All right, so this is exactly what we are doing. Now you have made your very first stitch, all right, on a paper. You did that with your hat down, right? Because you're not wondering if you're going to be spoiling the paper, destroying the paper, or something. So if you do this continuously, you'll be able to sew a straight line. All right. So now after we've done this on a paper, go around this as many times as possible until you're able to do it the right way. So when we are done now, let us go ahead and stitch on our fabric. So now this is my fabric, right? This is the fabric I am going to be using right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and thread this machine so that we're going to start sewing on a fabric. So I'm done threading the machine. The next thing we're going to do is to bring our fabric right here. So I'm going to be using my chalk right here, and I am going to draw straight lines using this ruler and a chalk. The reason I am drawing a straight line is because I want to learn how to make straight line stitches. All right, so you're going to draw straight lines. Draw about 5 straight lines using your tailor's chalk or your marker if the fabric is something you don't want to use again. So I'm going to be drawing about 5 straight lines right here. Make sure that while you're drawing your lines, they are straight enough, okay, so that you follow this line carefully. Now, so having drawn this line, all right, the next thing I am going to do is to press my presser foot down. Make sure that the needle and the lines are on the same line, okay, they are facing each other. That way, that's the only way you can be following the line. And then remember to always hold your fabric at the edge while dragging it a little bit, all right. So you're going to hold your fabric and keep drawing it while you're stitching. So let's get started. So this is it. Okay, this is how straight our stitch is. So I am going to do the same thing on all the lines that I drew here. All right, so you're going to do the same thing on all the lines that you've drawn here. Make sure that they are following the same lines you drew here. That way, if you keep doing it, you will definitely end up sewing straight lines quickly. All right, so we'll go back again and I would start sewing on the second line. Now when you're done, all right, in order to always have a neat finishing, make sure that you always cut out the thread after you're done stitching, right? Both the thread that you started with and the thread you ended with. So you should cut them out so that your stitches will remain very neat. Okay, so make sure that you cut out all the stitches right here. So the key to having straight and perfect stitch is practice. All right, always practice. Whenever you have time, keep on practicing. Draw as many lines as possible and try as much as possible to run your stitch slowly. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. So this will be all for today. Remember to subscribe, like, share and comment whatever it is. All right, if you have any question, put it in the comment section. I am going to attend to them. And also, I would like to see your after straight line stitches. So please take a picture and then post in the comment section so that I would score you and you would be able to keep on practicing. See you in the next video. Bye.